we need to conserve. And conservation, wildlife conservation doesn't start sitting at home, doesn't start sitting on the computer and saying, we should do this, we should do that. It starts by action. What are the problems today in wildlife conservation is, we know that India had a huge area. You won't believe it, we had more than 50% of our land which was forested. 50%. Today, it is reduced to less than 9%. And over that, there is only 3% of this which is protected. Mind you, only 3% of India is protected forest. By meaning protected forest is PA areas are wildlife sanctuaries, national parks and reserves. So these areas are so low, and yet we have tremendous pressure on this. The simple example you can see next door was Kudremukh, the mining project. There was a huge pressure. It is not that we do not want development, but development which is lopsided and in the wrong place is definitely undesirable. We do not want development in a place which is so pristine, but unfortunately we have to convince the policymakers, we have to convince people who are at the top to make a decision which will affect a lot of people there too. But tell them that this is not going to happen. And this is one of the examples where people, just like you sitting here, people fought for this and finally won a public interest litigation which put a last nail on Kudremukh's working here at Malleshwaram. One of the finest examples of wildlife conservation in action by people. It is not one person's work. A lot of people came together, a lot of pressure was built up on the government, and it came through. One little example I would like to give about people getting interested in wildlife and then going on into conservation. This is what I would like to stress today is, because as youngsters, when I was just out of college, I was very keen to see wildlife. My primary interest was to go to the forest and see. Just like a child, I loved going to see wildlife, whether it was an elephant, a deer, a tiger, whatever it is. So that is what attracted me. And I went into this, and what did I find? All around in fables, in tales, it was told to us, the forest is full of animals. The moment you enter the forest, you will find herds of deer coming out, a tiger will pounce on some deer, there will be peacocks all around on trees, there will be beautiful streams. With that in mind, I went to the forest. What did I know? JCB. Nadiyalli, Kodache. Whole tracts of mountains being bulldozed. No animals. We trekked for a whole day and I did not see one single mammal. One single mammal was not there. This was the greatest disillusionment in my life. I was disillusioned totally. I thought, what has happened to the animals? Where have they gone? Is it a Sunday? No. The animals simply weren't there. And then I realized that something seriously is wrong and we are not on the right path. And then onwards, as and when we went to the forest, we noticed a lot of disturbances in the forest. There were small people cutting trees. This impact is very small, but when many small people come and cut trees, the whole forest is gone. A little example, just yesterday, I don't know if a good friend called Ramit is around here from Manipal. He was organizing a small bird count. He is organizing, rather tomorrow is the bird count in Manipal. So they had designated a particular area. 3 weeks ago he had gone there and seen an area and said, this is the area we are going to walk and count birds. Today morning I get a call from another friend saying, the area is not there. The forest is moved down. There is no forest. So at this rapid stage we are going, destroying forest. It is high time we realize that we are destroying ourselves. So the primary responsibility to save wildlife or conserve wildlife is us. Again, we are self-centered. Just to get that drop of water to last for your next generation, just to have enough air or clean air, you are lucky. In Karkala, you can breathe better air. In Bangalore, okay, but Bangalore, no sir. The air quality is so bad that still you keep wondering, why do people live here with such air quality? So it is for this selfish reason we have to save wildlife. And while saving wildlife is not a single man's responsibility, this conservation action, we have to put this into action. We have so many threats, and the primary threat is habitat destruction. By several different factors, habitat is destroyed continuously, relentlessly, by everybody. Here there is a development project coming up, here there are mines coming up, there are dams coming up, there is the farmer who is extending his property, there is monoculture. Most tracts of good forest land has gone to rubber in South Canara. An alarming fact, nobody understands this. Lot of rubber planters have come in, even very close to Karkala, in Beltangadi, in Sulya, Sampaje, all these areas. So how do we know this? Most birders, most bird watchers explore different places. So this network, I should say, should support conservation by reporting any facts in these areas. In a very systematic and organized way, if people, anybody, people like you, who are interested and who say it's my duty to conserve nature, should report this and have a network in which conservation has got a primary role and be put into action and make policy makers understand that there is a problem and this should be stopped. Without this, we definitely cannot move ahead. No forest will remain. You will have only zoos in which you can keep a tiger and you can keep an elephant and say, this is how the tiger looked like, this is how an elephant looked. It is impossible for you to have any live ecology or live ecosystem unless you conserve. And India holds a key because we have the best rainforests, the best reserves, and again South Canara being blessed, it is our responsibility to do so. The solution should always begin with this. As the saying goes on, the problem has been started by us, and hence the solution also definitely is with us. How do we solve these complex programs? Or the complexity of conserving a huge forest is very difficult. There are people living in it. The knee-jerk reaction of many governments would be simply to say that you provide everything to those people who are living, who are dependent on the forest, provide it at their doorstep. My question is simple. We have 3% left. Instead of that, it is better to look after them in a very nice way and relocate them in a better way and say that it is better for you all to come on. Again, quoting what Mr. Rajakan told, he said about cell phones. I go to different forests and I have been haunting these forests of Nagarode. There are these kurubas who tend to elephants in those elephant camps. In 1995 to 2000, these were an illiterate lot. Every house outside would have a small elephant outside. Just like how you have a dog type, there were elephants. It was very funny to me. And by 7 o'clock, everything is quiet. Everybody sleeps. They get up early in the morning, tend to their elephants, go to the forest, things like this. Today, things have changed. Why? The invention of the cell phone. 3 years ago, I went there. Every single youngster aged about 12 had a cell phone in this place. He did not have a triangular loincloth, but he had a cell phone. Blaring with loud music and people loafing around in the main road of the hamlet. with the proliferation of these Chinese sects, the entire forest was loud with vulgar music around. So now comes the fact that why do these people have cell phones when they know that there is not enough to eat or cover themselves? It's a social problem. Definitely they have aspirations. So when they have aspiration, it is wise for us to move them out of a protected area rather than develop that protected area so that it gets more depleted. So this is one of the solutions. Second solution would be definitely to understand the forest in a better way. This starts with a very, very simple thing of educating children right at the beginning. Not just by showing them National Geographic on TV or Discovery. Today you ask a second standard student, what is this? He will say, that's a penguin. Okay, where are penguins found? Penguins are found only in the he'll rattle out enough statistics. You take him out and show him a koel. What is this? I don't know. Do you understand? So this is the shift. We are taking our children out from the garden and putting them in front of the TV and telling them, watch this. This is National Geography, this is Discovery, it's beautiful. But actually they are losing touch with the nature which is just outside their house. I can bet many primary school teachers cannot identify more than 4 bird species. 100% they cannot identify these species. Why? Because our education is more centric, sitting inside the class and never exploring outside and showing the children what it is. So this education should start right at a very young age, and it can be done not in an organized way, it can be done with societies and communities like yours. So this has to be done. The next is very important is managing wildlife with scientific knowledge. It is not just haphazard knowledge that we say, okay, there are 10 tigers in this forest, we have to save all the 10. There are 50 deer in this forest without any basis. There has to be a scientific basis on monitoring these jungles and the forest, and then only we can say, this is how we manage a protected area, this is how we conserve this and have a plan. Just like how a business is run on pakka facts and figures, a wildlife park also should be run on this. And finally, we have to create mass awareness just like this. Unless this awareness is put into action, it is just not awareness which is done here, but awareness put into action.